Good morning or good afternoon, everybody. This is Sean Cease at Humantic AI with Tom Slocum. Welcome to the Authentic Selling Live podcast, where we get together and talk to one of our evangelists or partners or somebody about AI in the sales process. Tom, welcome.
Excited to be here. Thanks for having me. Y'all know I'm a big fan, use Humantic in my day-to-day, and a big fan of you as well. So when the opportunity arises for us to jam out, I couldn't pass it up.
Yeah, likewise. I think that we probably have kind of chewed on some of the same ground over the years. I know recently that you started up a sales consultancy, and then I actually moved physically from California down to Arizona. I know you're just a stone's throw from me from Mesa down there in Queen Creek, so we're down representing the Southwest. So what I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, your consultancy and what you've been doing since you decided to go out on your own and do that sort of thing. So why don't you tell everyone, Tom Slocum, the name of your company and what you're focusing on and who you're targeting and how you're going to market.
Yeah, the nice little elevator pitch, right? About to hit my 1 year, September 19th. So very exciting times. But yeah, it's the SD Lab, the Sales Development Lab, a outbound agency that helps through consultancy and advisory and helping folks build and create their outbound sales motion or optimize and scale what they've already got in place and bringing in process. And so I'm working with early stage founders, pre-seed companies, all the way up to about Series B. Might have a 5 to 15, 25 person team, and it's just broken, right? It's all over the place. It's not repeatable. It's not scalable. They're potentially looking to hire, and it's just not working. So I come in with a few programs, a few proven methodologies, and we get to work in the lab, going through it and destructuring it and rebuilding it up, right? So it's successful.
Yep. How you get? I'm always interested, from a go-to-market perspective. A lot of the consultants and coaches, when you're starting out your own business, trying to generate, business or get leads and things like that. Are you mostly, going to market through LinkedIn or using different channels or word of mouth, or how are you generating business for your consultancy?
Honestly, Sean, I'm doing really the multi-channel hustle, to be real. It's a mixture of everything, right? I run my sequences. I'm doing my outreach every day, putting in that prospecting time, that hat, right? Social, huge channel for me, of course, right? LinkedIn, building trust and credibility there, throwing out great content, and then just kicking up combos. And then a good old phone, right? Jamming on the phone. I do my sessions every week, ripping the phones, and then referrals. And honestly, out of all the channels that I'm doing at all times, it's definitely my social brand and my referrals, right? Kind of that first year business kind of venture. That's kind of how it goes. Is everything's come from the wonderful community that I'm part of and the folks that are showing up for me, and really the work I'm doing with clients that's opening them intros to other people. They're like, hey, I think you should talk to Tom. He helped us do X, Y, Z. So a lot of that's been super, super helpful. But I do all the channels. I just have to, right? Keep them all moving.
Yeah. How about anything for particular markets? Have you gone down the road of nailing a niche, or are you still kind of hanging out in the waters of, hey, we've got a couple of reps and a handful of reps, and we're not really getting the meetings we need. We're not building the pipeline, so it's more of a horizontal based on horizontal approach based on people just not making their numbers, or has a niche bubbled up for you, a particular market or somewhere that's been really good to you?
It's kind of been a lot of everything. It really has. Really just a straight line of really in the industry or vertical that's, having an issue with building their team. I've done cybersecurity. I worked with the manufacturing. I've worked in the SaaS, right? B2B. So it's just kind of been a little bit of everything, network security. And now, but I will say now as I reach the 1 year mark and I'm kind of getting into this place, the clarity is there and the niche is kind of appearing to where I'm actually going into verticals that have the SDR role, the outbound sales motion, but are nowhere near tech and SaaS. They're call centers. I've got a hotel potentially I'm working with right now that might come in, right, to where they're having problems with their frontline managers. So I'm getting into a space where these people don't even know our world over here and some of the things that we do, that it's elevating them in some big ways. And so I'm kind of niching down into that space where I'm like, I'm going over here. I'm going left while everybody's going right.
Contrary to popular belief or outside the scope of LinkedIn, the world's bigger than SaaS, huh?
I can't believe it. It blew my mind, but the bubble will get you. The bubble gets you very hard because you live in it so much. But the reality is yes, there is 8 billion people in this world. There are a lot of channels. There's SDR roles that sometimes they don't even know they're SDR roles. Even for
Yeah.
me in my early career, I was a full sales cycle sales rep and an SDR before I even knew that I was an SDR or could do that role because what I was doing was that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think, I think that I got to know you by way of LinkedIn or seeing you around. And then probably similar to me, I kind of gravitated to Humantic AI because some
Mm-hmm.
of my background is personality prospecting, where I started taking a look at personality and behavioral psychology for prospecting. I was introduced to it years ago, and then when Humantic AI popped up with the ability to identify people's personality types, was just kind of I gravitated towards them to learn more about it. When you're going in when you're going into these organizations, or they're saying, "Hey, Tom, we'd like to talk to you and get some help from you," the topic of AI in general, is that really in the foreground for these people right now, or is it a kind of a backseat thing, and they're just like, hey, whatever you want to call it, let's get some more meetings, get some more pipeline, or are people coming at you heavy with, hey, what do you have in your stack that is AI ready, or how can we use AI? What are you seeing out there? What are people asking you about and coming to you?
It's really kind of going back to the SaaS bubble kind of thing is where in our world and in the sales world of SaaS and B2B, yeah, they're talking about AI. They're bringing it up. They're wondering what, coolest tools are helping. What should my SDRs be doing that can free up their time? The AI could, what are you doing with ChatGPT? Should my reps be even exploring that? Is it working for emails, right? What can I do to scale? Everybody's trying to scale, and how to do it with the least amount of work, right? Shortcuts. But when it comes to my actual buyers and my actual clients and the people I'm talking to and working with, no, they could care less. I'm the one bringing it up, right? Showing them and blowing their minds on the call and being like, hey, or in a Zoom, in a demo, they'll see my Humantic pop up and they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, I read your profile a little bit. And they'll be like, whoa, that's so crazy. And I'm like, help me do this demo with you, right?
Yeah.
And show them. And so to that space, no, they have no idea. It's not as top of mind for them. They stick with the basics, the fundamentals, the things that they're safe, that they know. They're that's their conversation, right? Just more meetings. How can I do it? If I bring it up, they're curious. I've dropped Reggie.ai to a lot of clients. I've shown Humantic to a couple clients, SDRs, and just depends on their level of, what they know. Again, understanding your buyer's language, where they're at, because sometimes I overwhelm people too. I get on a
Yeah.
call and they're like, I got to get off, Tom. I'm exhausted. I can't. I need a minute. I need to decompress because that was amazing, but so much, right? And I'm not there yet. And so it's not a huge, thing in that space just yet, but it's happening.
No, I understand the part about overwhelming people.
Mm-hmm.
It's sometimes it seems like you actually have to slow down and take a methodical approach with people because they can't. There's only so much that people can, let's say, absorb in one sitting, right? Before it's information overload, and now you just, your my cup overfloweth, right? And I can't take anything on. I refer to that as people have probably heard me say it on here before. How do you eat an elephant, right? One bite at a time. One bite at a time. Let's get good at something, and then
That's
get
it.
good at something else. I think I heard you say in there that you're at. It's almost like what is that phrase? Eating your own dog food. That you've got some tools in your stack that you use, and Humantic's one of them. Um, you've been finding that the insights, from, without us, I'm not going to do a demo of Humantic here, but
Yeah,
short of showing people the Chrome extension, you can all go download it at the website and get a trial. Of course, we'll plug it. That's why we're here, trying to sell more. Humantic can help people sell more authentically. Um, did you find right away, when you actually installed the trial, or whenever you caught wind of it by other influencers or the people that were talking about it on LinkedIn and decided to go take a look at it? Did it take you a little while to get used to the insights, about the people that you were approaching, or was the Humantic tool insightful and useful right out of the gate. What was the learning curve like for you to put personality and behavioral prospecting into your workflow?
I'm fortunate. I am a very, very heavy empath, I guess, as people call
Hmm.
it, right? Like I generally can connect with people and I want to connect with people and I want to hear their story. I want to understand them and then cater to that so I can show up best for them. It's a flaw and a strength.
Yeah.
Right? But when, I was into Crystal Nose way before that was popular. I worked at an org where they identified us by personality test with little color stickers, right? Orange, green, blue, right? And who you were.
Yep.
So when you talked to your teammate, you kind of knew who they were or how to send them an email, right? So I was very fortunate. I love this space. And so when Humantic came up, it was a no-brainer for me. I dove in on it fast because you have to interact with somebody to be able to kind of understand them. And how do you do that proactively before calling a prospect or having that conversation? How would I know Sean before actually having a conversation with Sean? So for me, I thought it was really great. So the learning curve was short. I jumped right in, and the insights have been a game changer. They really have. I really do and genuinely enjoy what Humantic can bring to the table. It's super easy, right on a Chrome extension. It doesn't disrupt anything. And the reality is it just gives you some insights, and it's really helped you. The biggest thing it's helped me on is my demo and my discovery for sales from the sales side. Now, it's helped my cold calls significantly too. From a
Hmm.
prospecting SDR level, get on Humantic, look up the LinkedIn, pick up the phone, and read through that sucker and kind of understand what to stay away from. You may not nail what to say, but you're going to know kind of like what not to do with this person, and your connect rates will stay. No, they're not your connect rate, but your talk time will get longer because you'll be able to actually engage this person and they'll want to talk to you. From a demo and discovery, it's even greater because I can go in and realize, you know what, Sean doesn't give a crap about the data, doesn't want to hear the numbers. He wants to be sold on the vision, that outcome. He's a quick decision maker. So I can cater to that a little bit and try to play into that versus, hey, this person wants to know the numbers. You need to show the ROI straight to this person. They don't care about the story. They want to know the facts. Okay, great. I'm going to prepare my demo all about the facts and try to cater to this and have this conversation. And it's done wonders for me. It's helped me close customers. I will say that it has helped me get deals across the finish line, especially in follow-up, how to write an email, craft it a little bit. So I am fantastic. I like it. There was not a learning curve. There's a lot to it. There's a lot more power to it now. Like I would follow Sean today if you're listening. Like get on his LinkedIn, follow him because he dives into Humantic. So you dive into it so deep, dude, and give me so many ways to build sequences, getting very niche down to those buyer languages, right? And some of the things you've tapped into with the one-click personalization, that's wicked. Now it's right in my Gmail, which is so cool. I go in there and it says, do I want to write an email myself or have Humantic work with some stuff? And I'm like, cool, click the button and it's spectacular. And it's helped me understand my buyers, speak their love language in a way that I don't have to guess at it and try to kind of fumble to get there. It's kind of there for me, and then I could be super crisp and clean.
Yeah. I think that a lot of the coaches that I've talked to recently who have reached out to me about Humantic AI, they always have this funny thing. Coaches and gurus are great because they're really great at what they do and they have their niche and they have their market that they serve and people love them and follow them and so on. And one of the things that they say to me is, how can you tell who's likely to buy because of their personality type? And then I always say, okay, I don't remember ever saying that. I always have to say I don't remember ever saying that. I know I do. Oftentimes I'll say, hey, surface who's most likely to buy or who likes to buy from you, and then and then with the insights of how to approach them. And what I'm getting at and what they finally come around to is that with the world gone crazy with data, with there being so much information available about people, is that it's really, to me, and there's a question in here for you, it's about signals. It's not a matter of coming in and saying, hey, if you're not using Humantic AI, you're not going to sell anything. Or if you use Humantic AI, you're going to be able to needle in the haystack everyone who wants to buy from you. That's not really the case. What we're talking about are gathering up the signals,
Yeah.
extra signals, things that we could, put together with other data points that we have, other pieces of information like our ICP and messaging that we know that works, and things like this. I think I heard you say that you actually use the insights from Humantic AI differently depending on the stage of the funnel. I think you were kind of
Mhm.
alluding to that the top of the funnel, you were getting some insights from me about sequences and things like that. And then when you go further down funnel, whether it's a discovery call or a demo, that you're actually using the insights differently. And it sounds like, depending on, I always call it the grind the grist for what the mill requires. Can you talk about that a little bit? Like, what, at the tip top of the funnel, if it's cold, what's the 1-2 punch that you get from Humantic? Is it around how you write your scripts, how you write your messaging, and then when you get a little bit down funnel to the discovery calls, it's just about knowing the people? I'll hand it back over to you if you could just give us a couple of a little deeper dive on the different stages of the funnel you were talking about there.
I mean, it kind of adapts to everywhere. And like you said, so in the cold calling side of it, right, I'm doing my 3x3 research. I'm looking at the prospect while the phone is ringing. I pull up Sean. My Humantic pops right out the side. And I'm just trying to understand like some things about you. Now it's elevated and had a recent update where it now starts showing interest. So I saw that recently where now like, Sean is into kettlebell. Right? Wouldn't know that. That's not something super commonly known.
Yeah.
So I could craft that in my cold call, and my opener might be a little bit different on the fly of something to tie into that if I can make it quick enough, right? So I'll look into that. That'll also go into my email. I might look at a way to craft the personalization around kettlebell and the sales motion and make that play on it, right, to catch your attention. And then like I go into the email, right? The follow-up after the call. So in the cold call, I'm just looking for ways to connect, kind of understand what you like, get an idea that, I read the Know Sean, kind of like the summary at the top where it just kind of highlights a little bit, right?
Yeah.
That you have a unique ability to win both love and respect from your team and outsiders. You have a unique set of diverse traits where they are fast and friendly, but can be slowed down to be thorough, right? When needed, if they are convinced. And so you're a strong champion for your product. So I learned that in a matter of 30 seconds while I'm waiting for the phone. Now I'm going to kind of adapt my call to that a little bit, play into some of that stuff. So again, you stay on the phone with me. Then in follow-up emails, or if you don't answer and I'm going through, like I said, the sequences, you can break down by personalities. There's a grid I think we have to share or a handout, but there's kind of the buckets of where people go. And then I can put you in which sequence fits your title, right, or your personality. So you're a pioneer. So pioneer sequence for VPs and founders and folks in the pioneer role. Well, that email thread and that email exchange I'm going to have with you is all about pioneering, right? Those people, I'm going to lean into that kind of language and like get you to be excited and like, yo, this is a product I can pioneer and stand behind. Yeah, Tom, let's talk.
Yeah.
That'd be the approach, right, for those folks. And then, so that goes into my email, right? Learning from those tips on, what, when writing the email, what not to use, what to use, dive into that a little bit. Like we talked about the one-click personalization I can drop in there. Again, it might write up about your kettlebell interest. It could do it for me. And then you move into the middle of the funnel and the closing. And that's where you get into the next kind of deeper insights to, using how I use Humantic, because it's going to show me how to build a winning connection with you, but also what not to do to derail the deal. Like you don't hesitate from asking questions or pushing you, right? But take a formal approach. So you're okay with a little nudge and tug, right? And kind of pushing you to make a decision, but don't be too or overly friendly. Don't be too fake or ingenuine, because then you're going to get really a bad vibe. So make sure it's really genuine. And I'm not like, Sean, hey, so great, and you're like, dude, I'm good. I'm going to go sign with your competitor. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how did I lose that deal? I thought this product was great. And then negotiating and closing, right? So there's so many places in the funnel that, I'm even thinking Humantic can start tapping into the marketing side of the house even, Sean, like getting into crafting your ads and the things that you're looking at your buyers, right? The insights you're getting from your analytics, trying to tackle that into Humantic, right? And say, okay, these are most of the people that are clicking on these ads are pioneers. maybe they're into AI. So cool, we need to be catering to that persona. Now that'll impact your SDR funnel. So there's some things where there's so many use cases for it in my business that I tried to adapt it to, even in customer success land. Who wouldn't want to know how to nurture that relationship better, or dive into how to cross sell and upsell to that prospective, client, right? That's going to be in your books. So there's so many ways to use it. I'm just a big fanboy.
You're right. There are so many ways, and we keep unpacking different ways to use it as well. One of the things that we started adding to our pilots and trials, for larger organizations that are testing AI and so on, is to do closed won, closed lost analysis. In other words, take historical data and then run it through Humantic and get the personality insights, and then again using that for signals. Where are we winning? And again, not necessarily, hey, this is the golden ticket or the keys to the kingdom of who you win with, but more like, why are we winning? Like if we are winning with, say, dominant personality types, for example, why is that? Is it that our messaging is written really well for dominant? Or, wow, look at our sales reps are all dominant personality types. Trying to, again, get all of these signals to kind of shape what good deals look like. And like you were saying, maybe even marketing takes and extrapolates what we learn and can double down, triple down on messaging for certain populations, remove those populations from the A/B test because the messaging is sound, and then continue to A/B test around other personality types because we haven't nailed those yet. Or maybe even sometimes I think taking, as we go further down the road, that it would probably go, so you're saying go back up the funnel to marketing. That's a great idea, I believe. And then also in hiring, if you had all this data and you said, well, look, we've got a bunch of sales reps that are dominant personality types and we're winning with dominant personality types. Is there a group that we're not serving well? And if we were really smart, would it make sense to have a sales rep who had a different personality type? Again, all very theoretical, but in the spirit of having all this data and continually A/B testing, again, these are all just signals, right? They're signals, things that we can use to shape deals. And actually, I think it's not even so much, make more money in revenue, but let's not get carried away. That's what the CEO wants at the end of the day. But it's about the customer experience, right? If somebody calls you, goes to your website, or you reach out to, the more people you connect with, whether you do business or not, if the experience is a good one, people remember that.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Is you got to realize when you can take a genuine interest, and you can scale genuine interest. Everybody thinks they can't, but you can generally connect with people at scale when you can kind of understand their language a little bit more. And ultimately, that's going to deeper relationships, clients, upsell, cross-sell, all of that things, because they genuinely, again, people buy from people they like, right? So if you can connect and they can like you, they'll give you your credit card all day, especially if they've already done it once, right? So yes, CRO, if you're listening, this is huge for you because you want your buyers or your frontline reps to stop guessing and really have a clear path to understanding where your most lucrative revenue comes from. What kind of buyer is that for us, right? That guessing work, after like a couple of weeks of your team running through this and kind of getting this data, you have a real picture. And like we said, I really think I kind of spun this idea on the fly, but this marketing angle is great. I think getting in that top of the funnel side of ads and understanding your insights behind your pre-funnel will impact that whole story. And then hiring, right? Like how great would that be? You've got a team of 30, run them all through Humantic, look up their LinkedIn profiles, kind of put together a little bit of a study while they're all working. They don't even know, right? You're just kind of getting their vibe. And then when you go into hiring, you start vetting these people out and you kind of get to see in past hiring, even go look at your firing record, right? Is there a problem there? Your retention rate, where were the people dropping off after 90 days? What common personality was that? Maybe we should safeguard that a little bit or dive into that a little bit more, build a different journey for them so we can ensure they stay, right? Like what do they looking for? Or just don't hire them, right? That's okay too. I get it. You go find the ones that are successful or can be, I guess, have a more likelihood, trying to be open to everybody. Don't shut your hiring doors, but you can have some favoritism and kind of find out where your lane is, just like in deals. So I think, really getting into the signals of these things. Why wouldn't you want all of that? Otherwise you're guessing and doing all this human error kind of approach of like, you just don't know. You're connecting with somebody, or you think this buyer is going to work with you, or you go into the demo just completely doing the Tom show. Well, the Tom show isn't for everybody. So I need to understand how to adapt the Tom show to that audience, right? And so, I don't want to come in guns a-blazing about data and outcomes, and this person's like glossy eyes, like, hey man, I want to see the heart. Why did you build this? What is it in for me, and where can I, what can I expect from this? Not, the numbers. I'm good there. So there's a lot you could do. I think understanding your buyer's language, understanding your hiring language, your sales language, it can you can bring people in versus trying to throw it out the wall and see what comes in.
Yep. I have Aru, our moderator in the background. I uploaded the cheat sheet that we were talking about before. Let's talk about this for a second when we're talking about buyer language, and then you can share some of your experiences. I mean, we got a few more minutes here. We'll get into the weeds so we don't bore people too bad here. Here's the interesting thing. This is the other thing I noticed from the sales coaches and people who've been reaching out to me recently, is that a lot of them, bless their hearts, it's fine, that we usually think of, the golden rule, like in the center of the circle here, at the top there, it says the platinum rule of disc selling, which is treat people the way they want to be treated. I think, we all, everyone, falls into the golden rule, right? Treat people how you want to be treated, which makes sense, right? Why wouldn't you? That's nice enough, but when we have the opportunity to know exactly how people like to be treated, we can go down that road. And that's what we call that, the platinum rule, treat people how they want to be treated. Can you go to the next page for us, Aru? So this is a sheet that we created here. We've got several different sheets here. Across the top are the 4 different dispersonality types: D for dominant, I for influence, S for steady, C for cautious. This is just a little framework to help you understand what's going on underneath everything. Like, Tom was sharing that we have a Chrome extension and a way to create sequences and one-touch emails, all sorts of different features to take advantage of this. But I always find that the folks who really want to understand DISC better, they really want to take the Chrome extension and the Humantic tools to the next step, this is where they start. That if you see on the left-hand column there, the first 3 rows are traits, fears, and under stress. And this is what really happens with everybody all day, every day, depending on, what situation they're in, what they're facing, whether they're buying, selling, at a kid's birthday party, or so on. This will be, how they behave. Again, this is a free resource that we have. But those 3 rows are the 3. Those are the ones that I've always stuck to. And here's what I'm getting at: the whole idea of treating people how they want to be treated. You can see on the second or the third row down there, the fear. For dominant people, it's loss of control. For influencers, it's rejection. Steady people, it's change. And cautious people, it's making mistakes. And this is, Tom, with the insights that you've used, these are the kind of things that when it comes to writing scripts and writing emails and things like that, this is where I go, where I start to think, okay, maybe it doesn't make sense to open every call the same way. Maybe it doesn't make sense to close the call to action to be the same for everyone, because we know that people behave differently. Have you noticed that at all, or adapted any of your emails or any of your scripts, in that way, where you're actually saying, hey, I'm starting to see that some people will not put up with this, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to change this and maybe change my call to action. Have you been doing anything like that?
No. This is where you're my authority in this, right? And where I love seeing these things, because I haven't got that granular with it. No, I need to start looking at. Again, this goes back to even doing buyer persona training for your org, right? And writing this up for marketing and everybody, and getting into these kind of key things here, right? Because I do need to look at, I will say I do my call to action. Like in my emails, based on that personality, I do that, like looking into a way where, maybe it's a stronger call to action depending on it being a D, right? Get right to it versus, a C where it's a cautious person, and I might go out of curiosity to you, Sean. Is this even something that might be, something you'd be willing to take a step forward in, right? Kind of showing and adapting, getting proactive to, hey, they're kind of a hesitant person and need gentle guidance, not being, a super crazy authority. So I haven't got that granular yet, but I need to. So this guide this breakdown is very good. Are you doing it? Is that kind of where you're at now with it, and kind of changing those things to adapt to
Yeah,
this
like I
level?
said, I've been, I've got a little jump start on folks because I started studying this about six or 7 years ago. I was introduced to it through, when at one point when I decided to get a professional coach, and then I was introduced to this disc personality prospecting, and I really went down the road on it. And then, like I said, when Humantic came along, the great thing about Humantic, my favorite thing about Humantic is that Humantic identifies the personality type and the behavior for you. Prior to that, I had to, I did a lot of studying to figure out how to identify somebody's personality type. And that's not easy, right? Listening, I mean, you really have to listen to their tone, their pace, their pitch, the words they use, their cadence, their rhythm. Well, when Humantic came along, huge leap forward. Now you click on a button, or you connect it to your database, and it enriches your database with the personality type. So from there, you can just use all of the insights and adjusting your openings, your call to actions. I mean, for example, like steady folks, for example, um, resistance to change, and it's counterintuitive too. It's not that they're resistant to change; it's that they put a lot of effort into putting everything together really well for the team. So it's like, okay, if you're coming at me with I'm stupid or I'm doing it wrong, you're blowing it. And what I in the simple way to say that is, when you reach out to steady folks, it's worth trying. Hey, I'd be surprised if you didn't already have some systems in place and that your team was going along pretty good. But I've never met anyone, Tom, that wasn't trying to look up around the bend. What's coming down the pipe? What do I have to keep my eyes and ears open for? Do you keep some time open on your calendar to take a look at the latest ideas and innovations around this stuff to make sure that you have the best stuff in place?
I do.
Again, right?
Yeah. I am. This is the future. This is where things are going. Just this type of behavior and understanding people is something I wish I had done years before. Because, like I told you, it's just kind of my superpower that, like, I do like this stuff, but I needed to dive into it a lot sooner. But now, as the future goes on and AI is coming in and being able to kind of remove the human error, give you insights, do things that we just at a human level cannot do, and kind of give you a leg up to people. I am trying to study it. I am trying to carve out, a couple times a week where I'm diving into some of the most creative AI tools, trying to get my hands wet on what these things are doing, and getting into Humantic and buyer language, and sell without selling out, right? Like Andy's
Yeah.
book, right? And just kind of diving into things where, yeah, this stuff fuels me up. This stuff fires me up because I had a sales career since 2007, 16 years. And was I lucky enough to connect with a lot of folks and kind of find my way? Sure. But I wish my whole time I could have actually known how to connect with people and actually know how to speak to them way earlier and before, because I lost way too many deals from kind of how I showed up, right? And it's not changing who you are for people. It's not going that deep with it. Like I said, it's my weakness is I'm a chameleon to any situation, but it's just knowing, in the sales process, again, how do I sell without selling, right? Like I always say, if you're selling, you're doing it wrong, right? Clearly you shouldn't have to sell, right? It should be a conversation and it should match up if you've done all the fundamental things right. And one of those is understanding those signals, understanding those triggers, and really getting into this. And so, yeah, I'm amplifying it. I'm putting time together to just get into it because it's something I'm really enjoying. And it's a skill that goes way beyond sales. It's just a life skill to want to enjoy other people's minds and understand what their walk of life is, or, these similarities that we all kind of come from the same strands of different molecular coding. It's all got the same fundamentals with a few variations that we can all kind of be bucketed at times, and hey, this group is here, group A, B, C, D, E have all these kind of similarities. And then there's this 1% difference in them that makes them who they are and their uniqueness.
Yeah, I like how you framed that when you were saying that things should just be natural steps, in the everyday course of having. I actually I've always for the longest time I've thought that too. Like I don't think of closing as an event. I think of closing, closing a deal or a commit is the same thing as any other step in the process. It should just be a natural next step in the process if everything is done correctly. But that usually starts with building trust earlier. Like you said, people buy from people they like, people buy from people
Mhm.
they trust more than they trust themselves, and everything should just be a natural step. So great, we're at time here. I wanted to give you I wanted to thank you, one, for coming on and chatting with me about your experience with Humantic and what you're doing with your business. You want to give us the billboard real quick here so that people know how to get a hold of you and find you
Yeah.
and you know.
The nice little calling card. I mean, really, it's this simple. You can go to my LinkedIn. I'm very fortunate to have a very enriched profile, real estate there, where you can find everything about me. You can connect to my SD Lab website, take a look, book a call with me. Happy to have your outbound engine. You can look at podcasts that I have. My link tree is there, where it'll take you to brands I love, affiliate links, to companies like Humantic, everything you need, all the podcasts, all the articles. So hit me on my LinkedIn at Tom Slocum. I got a nice fire emoji in front of my name. Can't miss it. And send me a DM. I don't bite. If you have a question, you have follow up, anything, let me know.
So you're okay with people reaching out to you to have a conversation with you, regardless of whether or not you do business together?
Oh man, I love those more than anything, man. Don't
Those are
pitch
the best,
slap
right?
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't pitch slap me. Don't slow drip it and play the game. Just genuinely talk to me. It's so refreshing, and I love when people can just do a demo with me or discovery and just show up as you. I don't need the dance. I
Yeah.
don't need the song and pony. Either be direct, don't be direct. Just don't be fake with it and over fluffy with it. I don't care. You could hit me right up and be like, Tom, I need this from you. And I'm like, okay, let's do it. I respect that. Or you could be like, hey, how are you? Like, it's all good.
Yeah.
Just be normal. Just be normal, please. Just don't go through it all.
That's what I think. We don't have to
I
get carried
welcome it.
away. We get together, have a conversation, see what we can shake out of the trees. What's the worst thing that can happen? We end up being referral partners or think of each other when the time is right. It never hurts anything to have more people in the network. That's what it's all about.
Yep.
All right, Tom, thank you very
Perfect.
much. Appreciate you joining us on the Athletic Selling Live podcast.
Awesome, man. Thank you again. Have a great day. Thank you all. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you.